What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Blood on the Razor Wire TV. We got a special guest on today. I think he had a show that was out. What was it? Felons Catching Predators,
Prisoners
something like
versus
that.
Predators.
He'll be able to tell you what it was. But anyway, man, we got Chase on. We did a couple of these videos, showing some clips. So I actually am able now to talk to one of these cats. They're out here catching people. He ends up getting arrested. He's charged. They also give him a charge. They gave him a charge that he beat as a SO for punching one of these cats right in the balls. But anyway, Chase, tell the people who you are, where you're from, and we're going to talk about you and the shit you've been doing.
Yo, what's up, guys? My name is Chase. I'm from Rochester, Minnesota, and I'm a predator catcher. My channel was called Prisoners versus Predators. We've exposed around 12 or 13 people. One of them is a high-ranking corrections officer. One of them is doing 5 years for child pornography. We've exposed some bad people for sure.
Let me ask you this, right? I mean, how old are you?
I'll be 30 this month.
You're 30 years old, and I remember watching that Catch a Predator with Chris Hansen when I was in state prison, right? Dudes in prison would be tuned into this show like it was a comedy type of thing where we were laughing our balls off, just keeping it real, right? And at the same time, they're catching some really bad people. What made you get into this?
Yeah, so I was watching Dads Against Predators, like you were talking about last night. I grew up watching To Catch a Predator too, but I was watching these guys and I'm like, there's no way this is that easy. And I Googled to see if there's anybody in my area doing the same thing, and there wasn't in Minnesota. So I got on the droid, and within about an hour, I was ready to meet somebody.
Some pretty sick dudes out there, huh?
The first dude was one of the sickest dudes we did, yeah.
I don't want to say too much in detail because we don't want to get banged, you know what I mean, on YouTube. I mean, banged on YouTube, no other way.
Yeah.
So you end up, putting this thing together, right? Are you thinking like, hey, man, I could blow up on YouTube doing this, or what?
I mean, the goal was to just, because in Minnesota, these guys get probation almost every time. So the real goal was to just expose people. I figured it would blow up. Yeah, and it did pretty quick until they took my channel.
How much money were you making a month on YouTube doing that? I'm just curious.
Well, so most of my videos were like limited monetization. So not that much, $10 a video. And then one video somehow got monetized. It made like $100 in like an hour before it got demonetized.
So you're out here, you're lining these cats up. What do? You get on the phone and pretend you're, a kid?
Yeah. So we have a couple different girls that help. My girlfriend, she would help too. We'd use her pictures, and then I would go on like Grindr and pose as myself, and just, start talking to these cats, and you'd be surprised at how many of them are willing to take it there.
You posed on Grindr. Is that like
That's a dating app, yeah.
It's a gay dating app?
It is, yep.
So now these cats come to meet you, and I know you end up getting jammed up because one of the cats that comes is a correctional officer. Did you know he was a correctional officer?
I did. I've been in the jail in my town many times back in the day, and when I started talking to this cat on Whisper, he was trying to buy alcohol in exchange for favors. Literally, the post said anyone under 21 need me to buy them alcohol. So I responded, and we start talking. He sent me a picture. The second the picture popped up, I recognized him right away, and I knew that this was a big deal.
You guys line up a meeting. Does he think you're a chick or a dude?
He thinks I'm a 14-year-old girl.
And he shows up to meet you, and you're there. Are you ever thinking in your head, because, we can talk about, the Dads Against Predators or whatever, right? One of them cats get plugged. I think that was the old one, but the video finally came out the other day. It was all over World Star and Instagram and everything. Did you ever think like, hey, this guy's a correction officer, you might have one of them things on him, or what?
No, I've never been scared doing this. I mean, that's in the back of your head, obviously, but I usually have a guy or two with me that can hold his own, and we have had other guys that have concealed carries as well with us.
So you're actually going suited and booted, ready to go.
Absolutely.
So when you end up, we see these videos, but we don't see the whole videos. We see the little clips here and there, right? So when you show up and these cats realize like, oh shit, I mean, what's their first response?
It's a wide variety. Anything from denial to that. The worst is when they start to get smart with you and start cussing at you and stuff like that. Then next thing you know, you're basically putting hands on these guys. It's hard not to.
You ever worried that, hey man, doing this stuff, I might go to jail?
I've been to jail for it. I'm facing serious prison time right now.
I know, but in the beginning, when we're going to talk about that in a second, but
Oh yeah.
in the beginning, when you do this, right? Are you ever worried about, damn, I could end up in jail doing this?
Honestly, I never thought that. No, I didn't think that. I mean, and the clip that's on my Facebook of me smacking that dude, I mean, the cops were laughing about it with me later on. They didn't arrest me. I got charged later on is what happened. The county attorneys got it out for me.
The county attorney's mad at you because you're out catching these cats.
Exactly.
So when you're doing this stuff, right? Because I'm going to ask you this. You're out here, you're doing this stuff. You've been in jail before, street code, all of that shit. You're out here doing this. Are you turning this shit over to the authorities, or is your intention just to scare these cats and get them to stop doing it, possibly?
Well, I do live by the street code, Chad, but when it comes to some shit, I mean, it's a whole different story. But I was turning them in a little bit, but no charges were getting filed. And then, as things went on, like I just decided to not even try to call the cops. Sometimes they call the cops on themselves.
Not worried about getting arrested, even though they're on this thing doing this shit?
Well, the narcissism that goes into, these guys is incredible. I mean, just to be the type of person that would be sick enough to do that, you got to be messed up in the head.
I talked about that last night, being in prison with these cats and how they're arrogant, they're narcissists, they think that, they're not criminals and they didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah.
But actually they did. And that stops them from any type of, rehabilitation or becoming a better person or, getting some, help to get away from that type of stuff. But in your encounters, they were narcissists, kind of arrogant?
For the most part, yeah.
How many try to fight you?
Not one has ever actually tried to fight me, no. They've been forced to put hands up, but
Or what, do you just get pissed off and you give them a whack or what?
yeah, that's definitely happened a couple times. Yeah, there's one video that we were actually on Facebook Live and my buddy lit this dude up and let's just say we couldn't post it on YouTube for sure.
Do they start crying or do they say, hey, please don't call the police? Do they offer to pay you? I mean, what happens in these interactions?
So we had one guy, he's like, I'm not gonna say it's, like he's kind of special. He like has like people that kind of take care of him, stuff like that. He was trying to meet two little kids online, and he was screaming and crying, just like the guy you described in your video last night with the Chomo 3000s on him. It was just absolutely pathetic. It was a comedy show for sure. And then his people called me at the company. They asked if I could take it down the next day. And I told them, absolutely, I'm not taking the video down. The whole community needs to know who he is. You guys obviously can't supervise him good enough.
So when you're dealing with a guy like that, right, and he's got some mental health problems, and I said this, a lot of these dudes grow physically, but they don't grow mentally. They're stuck at 13 years old. Do you ever feel in your mind like there's an exception for cats that are like that, but they really need some help because they're mentally disturbed?
Not when they cross that line, no. I think they need basically life in prison. Now there is a few guys that maybe could be rehabilitated, but most of these guys, when they're messed up in the head like that, you know what it is, they're gone.
I think it is a sickness, and I think a lot of them, unfortunately for them and their families and the people in the community, they can't be rehabilitated. So what do? That's why they started civilly committing these people, right? They commit these acts. Like they had a big article about 5-6 years ago in the USA Today. All these dudes were pissed because when they got done doing their time, they were being civilly committed and not being, you did a 10-year sentence and now you might be doing another 20, 30 years in prison because the courts are saying, hey, we can't let you out in the street. You're a threat to public safety. So, that does happen.
Yeah.
Let me ask you.
It happens here too sometimes.
I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just saying that does happen here too sometimes. Like when they actually go to prison, the sentence is around 12 years. And sometimes when they're getting down there, they get civilly committed to St. Peter afterwards. But it's so rare that they even go to prison. They get probation right away. And then once they violate is when they actually go.
Let's talk about this charge that you got, right, with the correctional officer. Are you charged for that case, the one with the former correctional officer?
No, so I got charged with the SO crime. That was the one that's on my Facebook where I pushed that big dude up against the metal thing on the gas station and I slapped him in the face and I punched him in the balls. Matter of fact, real quick story. So Dads Against Predators used to work with a guy named Bupak Shakur and he got killed doing this last October. Bupak Shakur actually had commented on one of my videos and told me that he's like, why do you let these guys get away, bro? You got to start popping their tires. So I was on a kick where I'd pop their tires for a little bit too. So shout out to Bupak for getting me into that.
Yeah, he lost his life. It could be dangerous. It's kind of like that one idiot guy that goes all over in California, like, yo, what's up? You trying to get cracked? And they do all these what is it, American Idiot? I don't even know his channel. I just seen him. But you definitely put yourself in danger. So the big dude that you're pushing on your Facebook page and all of that stuff, is that the correctional officer?
No, he's not a correctional officer. He's just some random sick guy.
What about the correctional officer? Do you have to put hands on him?
No, so the correctional officer it was such a quick meeting. This guy, he was so anxious to meet up. We go to meet at Target and he don't want to get out of the vehicle. So we're actually following. He don't know we're following him. We get his license plate on video. I try to get him out of the vehicle. I got him on video. He won't come out of the vehicle. He wants the girl to come out to his car. At the time that I was using was at work. So like I said, it was a quick meeting. So I report all the evidence to him or to the police officers. They don't follow up with me. A year later, he gets busted in another sting doing the exact same thing. So that's why he's facing federal charges. And now my trial is kind of intermingled with this. And we're trying to kind of use that as leverage against the other case that I have.
So let's talk about this other case that you have where you punched the dude in the balls and all of that. How much time are they trying to give you?
So that one, I think I pled out to no jail time, just a simple assault charge, right? So because I had that charge and they had it out for me, I actually got another charge. My big case I'm facing right now is from last July, the last sting that I did. And that guy was a real serious level 3 convicted offender, did 10 years already for SOing a 10-year-old boy. And got out and tried to do the exact same thing. And they took me to jail. And I didn't even put my hands on the guy.
Did that cat end up getting more time now, too?
No, nope.
And they're prosecuting you.
Yeah, coincidentally, he had gotten off parole around 3 months before I busted him. The police, they were waiting for me to do this. They had it all orchestrated that when I did another sting, they were going to make up charges and arrest me. That's 100% what's going on.
How much time do you think you're going to end up with out of this?
So if I blow trial in September, I'm looking at around 48 months. I got a DUI case that I'm fighting from like 2 years ago that kind of complicates this too, but as far as that goes, I've been sober for so long and putting in the work that I'm not really worried about that part of it. But if I lose this violent charge, I mean, it's a false imprisonment charge. So I'd have to register as a predatory offender if I lose, and they'd probably give me like 5 years, 57 months, maybe.
And is this cat going to come testify at the trial?
That's what they say. I don't know how the hell they think he's a reliable witness, but
I think it comes down to them actually proving, like, look, this is what has to happen, right? You're going to trial. You have to get a jury nullification. The jury's got to come back and say, you know what? I'm not sending Chase to jail because I think what he's doing is he's doing a service. He's doing a service for the community, right? But I mean, them proving that you kind of like falsely imprisoned this cat or you assaulted him, it's not hard to prove, right? If you're stopping him from leaving or if you're putting the beats on him. So what you're going to have to do is jury nullification. I don't want you to comment on that because you're going to trial. I'm just telling you from my legal perspective, hopefully you have a jury that says, no, I like Chase and I think he's doing a service to the community, for the community, and we're not going to lock him up. Are you worried about it?
Not at all. Only thing I'm worried about, Chad, is I have a daughter now and she would be like 4 or 5 or 5 or 6 when I get out, but I'm mentally headstrong and I'm ready for it. I also got Bruce Rivers as an attorney too.
Bruce Rivers is representing you.
Bruce Rivers, the criminal lawyer.
And I need Bruce Rivers to give me a shout out, bro. Anyway, yeah, he's doing big things too. So,
right.
Is there a plea offer?
No plea offered. Plead guilty or fuck off, basically.
So they're forcing you to trial.
Yeah, I mean, they think that they got me or something like that, and they're sadly mistaken, I think.
Let's talk about this, right? Because I've seen on Catch a Predator, I've seen prosecutors There was a prosecutor down in Texas. He got busted, and before he went to trial, he ended up offing himself at his house. Like he finished himself off and didn't go to trial. Didn't breathe another day of air. So some of
Yeah.
these prosecutors. Do you feel like this prosecutor is just nasty towards you, or sympathetic towards these other people?
Well, so I've had more news articles written about me, Chad, than anybody that has a homicide charge in the last 4 years in this town. Even like there's like 12 of them. So the Post Bulletin newspaper here in town, they're one of the guys there wrote some articles about me. He calls me. He's like, "Yo, what's up with this county attorney?" He's like, "I'm going to interview this cat," and he calls the county attorney up and he agrees to an interview. And Mark Ostrom, the county attorney, said to the whole community that he supports probation for first-time nonviolent offenses. What the hell is a nonviolent offense? And he 100% is sympathetic towards. He says it's in the best interest of the victim and the perpetrator to give them probation so they can supervise them in the community. Completely ridiculous. So a lot of the community sees this stuff too, and they see the police not doing their jobs, and they see that the lawmakers do not want to lock these guys up, and they're pissed. I'm not the only one that's mad about this.
Have you ever got responses from the public where they hit you up like, "Yo, bro, we support you. Thank you for what you're doing." Anything like that?
All the time. You'd be hard pressed to find. There'd probably be 3 jury members or 4 who haven't seen my videos, and not only that, my friend Todd Pearson, he runs a YouTube channel as well. So he was a jailer for many years, Chad. Really nice guy, and and during COVID, I went to prison in 2019, right before COVID happened, and he started voicing his concerns about the unconstitutional lockdowns. So the sheriff in town put him on paid leave. He ended up settling for a bunch of money. They tried to basically take his right to free speech away, and he's big time on my side, and he's supporting me through this and got me on his channel and stuff like that as well. He's a correctional officer. So
I think that you probably got a shot at beating this at trial. I think there's going to be some jury nullification, and I think Rivers is probably a good lawyer, pretty sharp dude.
Yeah, absolutely.
How'd you end up getting him as a lawyer?
So my friend Travis Cullen, he just did Ian Bick's podcast too. He did 8 years in the feds for weed, and back in 2004 when he had got popped, like one of the biggest weed charges you can get in the feds, he hired not Bruce's boss, but somebody that's really close to Bruce or his mentor or something like that. He just died the other day, actually. But that's how I got hooked up with Bruce Rivers, was through him.
Big money?
Yeah, but he gave me a good deal too, though,
I hope that it works out for you, bro, because, main reason, number one, man, you got a daughter that needs a father. And I say this all the time, little girl's first hero in life is her father. So definitely hope that this thing works out for you. So you've been to prison in Minnesota, you said, right?
Yep.
What's that prison system like over there?
Well, so the mediums is that's where I was. I mean, everybody goes to St. Cloud at first, and that's an old like dungeon style, one of the oldest prisons in the country. And it's pretty run down and stuff like that. But there is some pretty serious dudes in there, don't get me wrong. Like I said, I went in there, everything was normal, and then I only had 10 months to do, and then COVID happened. My dad was healthy when I went to prison, and then he almost died from cancer, and I couldn't get a deathbed visit because of COVID. So it was rough. I seen a guy get stabbed in his neck in a medium security prison out of nowhere one day. So I definitely had a full experience for the little short time I was there.
How old were you when you were there?
I went in at 25.
So you're a young man, you see someone get hit in the neck. Does it affect you anyway, mentally, emotionally, or is it just another day?
That day, I'm not gonna lie, like my nerves were definitely on edge. It happened out of nowhere so fast. And yeah, it was definitely crazy for sure to see that,
What was he stabbed over?
So they had got into it over the phone. They were all Crips. They had got into it over the phone, and this young black dude that used to play cribbage with me and my buddies sometimes, just a nice kid in there on a pistol case. Supposedly he had got into it with the one dude on the phone, and he called the big homie up, and they went to the cell to handle it, and he beat the dude up apparently, and the dude wasn't having being beat up, so he stabbed the big homie.
Wow. Okay. So he hits the big homie. So he's probably hit wherever he goes, right?
Yeah, I don't know this. I didn't ask questions specifically on the politics, but I know they were all Crips, and I know that it was a crazy ordeal.
What other gangs do they got over there in Minnesota, bro?
The natives run the joint in Minnesota. They have the numbers, they have the money. But there's a lot of Crips and GDs. There's a couple white gangs too.
The white dudes stick together over there?
In the maximums for the most part, yeah. In Stillwater and Rush City, they're pretty tight knit. I mean, they have some beefs and stuff like that, but yeah, they kind of keep it their community tight.
So the natives kind of run that whole prison system.
Yeah, they get that casino money, some of them, and they're very serious dudes. I mean, they put that work in for sure.
You don't have to tell me. I've been in federal prison with a bunch of Native Americans, and they definitely put that work in. They don't hesitate, man, to do what they got to do. I guess you could say. Were there ever any times in there where you were a little bit nervous, like afraid, like, damn, bro, I'm a young white kid, man, shit's dangerous?
Not really. I knew that if I had like a crazy freaking Green Mile looking celly, I'd probably have to maybe, just crash out or something. But other than that, I wasn't really nervous. I was pretty mentally mature then, So
what's the food like in Minnesota in that prison system? Is it good? Is it shitty? In my mind, I'm thinking Minnesota's not too bad.
Oh man, in St. Cloud, they fed us really good. And Faribault wasn't the best, but St. Cloud, they had some damn good food. They cooked their own bread there. Yeah, it wasn't bad. I mean, but they got the old school bars in the cell. I mean, it's very small cells. It's definitely a old school dungeon prison.
Nothing like fresh baked bread from a prison, right?
Right.
I'm just messing with you. So what are your plans now, bro? Let's say you beat this case. I mean, you're working now, or I think you work at the gym, whatever. But I mean, are you ever going back to catching predators, or are you done with it?
Absolutely. I'm going to start exposing people again. I might not do all the stings myself. Ultimately, I want to start helping take down some of these CP rings on Instagram and stuff like that. Doing some work with that. I have some connections with some people that do the same type of thing, and then they report it to the Missing Exploited Children Center or whatever.
Really, you're kind of dedicated to making sure that the kids in the community are safe. That's your thing.
100%. I'm a victim of it. My family has been affected by this type of stuff. And I just see the way that kids are struggling these days with, the way the craziness of the world, the drugs and all the SO stuff. And, it's crazy to me. Like I said, Chad, yesterday, you would not believe the conversations that I've had with these guys and the stuff that I've seen and the things that they're willing to do to these young kids, get them on drugs and get them in hotel rooms. And it's absolutely sick. One of the guys that we did, he was trying to get a 14-year-old girl high on crystal for her first time at a Motel 6. We bust him. His parents had reached out to me to ask me what they should do about. I guess he has a disabled daughter, so that's special needs. God only knows what he could be doing to her. Yeah, so we're about protecting kids. We're about making change in our community. I'm going to be a personal trainer soon, and I'm committed to life, to my recovery, and to my cause for sure.
Well, man, I encourage you in that, right? I encourage you to, be the best father you could be and stay focused on your recovery, stay working out, stay with that job, keep stacking your bread. As far as, I would probably tote the line, bro. I'd be very, very careful because obviously you're facing some, some people might not think, 4 years ain't nothing, but 4 years out of your child's life, 4 years of your life, 4 minutes of your life in a prison is far too long. That's why I would never do 60 days in or anything like that. I got to be with my family, be with my kids. So, Chase, man, I appreciate you coming on. What do you got going on now, though, like social media-wise? No YouTube channel? Where you at? Not on Grindr anymore, right?
Definitely not on Grindr anymore. That's funny, though. So my YouTube channel is called The Hard Road TV. I have a couple videos on there. Like I said, my buddy, he did 17 for killing his dad back in the day, and just little things I'm posting. But my main thing is the fitness right now.
That's what's up. I encourage you, man. Shoot me the link, right? And I'll post it up and I'll subscribe today.
Okay.
But definitely appreciate you coming on. Anything you want to say before we get ready to go?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you, Chad. I appreciate you and the work that you do. And to all the men out there, we need leaders in this country. We need people to stand up for what's right and protect kids. And it's not just about us. And there's people, I get messages all the time from people that are still using in my community, asking how to get sober and stuff like that. So I just want to encourage men out there to be men and be leaders and good fathers, because people are leaning on us and people are dying every single day from the drugs and stuff. So
Let me say this, right? So everybody that's watching this video, I want you to know that there are things that I wish that we could talk about, but because the platform's YouTube, there's certain things that I can't go into, right? If I could, I would, but I can't. It's against the rules. You say the wrong, some of these words, I'll probably have to beep out some of these words too in this video. But, definitely, man, there are people out there victimizing, kids, and just the whole human trafficking thing that's going on, SOs. Some of these dudes are sick dudes, but I want them to know, if they're watching this video right now, right? Because I think some people do watch the video that are up in their mom's basement. Get your life together, man, because they're sending your ass to prison. If the feds come, there's dudes in there with 100 years, dudes with 40, 50 years. And when they lock on you, it's over with. So you might as well stop doing what you're doing. Pull your pants up, you son of a. But anyway, listen, I appreciate you coming on. Blood on the Razor Wire TV. With respect, until tomorrow, we're out.